Welcome to another episode of Fantasy Football Friendly Focus. I'm your host, who boasts, who claims the most. But, if my picks don't help you, you can definitely roast. Just kidding. But, how did you guys do last week? I won in both my leagues, so 4-4, and looking pretty good in the thick of it. So, let's go over the picks for week 9 this week. But first, let's go over what we learned from last week. So, we learned that Taylor Heineke is the better option at quarterback, and he helped the Commanders beat the Colts. So I said that last week that he's going to be better than Carson Wentz. He knows the team better. He just gels better. So we'll see how that goes for the upcoming weeks. And when it comes to the effects of the trades that happened over the trade deadline on the first, we have Claypool that went to the Bears, Hines that went to the Bills, Jeff Wilson who went to the Dolphins, Chase Edmonds went to the Broncos, Hawkinson went to the Vikings. So those are pretty much just some of the major trades that happened. So most of these guys are going to be already on teams already. So maybe exception for Hines that might be on the waiver wire, but really don't see much of these guys doing much with their new teams. Probably Hawkinson is probably going to be the only one because he's a major upgrade at tight end for the Vikings. So, but if you have him, that might be worth some stars, but it's kind of like maybe just wait and see kind of thing. So, and the last thing we kind of learned for this week was Malik Willis had a tough start with the Titans, but he had King Henry bail him out by running all over the Titans. So it's probably going to be a lot tougher for him, but we'll see how it goes. Kind of like a see how it goes kind of thing as well. So let's just jump right into the games this week. So the first game is going to be the Eagles at the Texans. So it's kind of funny because the Astros are at the Phillies this week, so it's kind of a swap. But when it comes to the Eagles, I'll start everybody. Start Jalen Hurts, Devontae Smith, A.J. Brown, Goddard, if you have all the running backs. And definitely must start, probably start of the week, is going to be the Philadelphia defense. So let's go to the Texans. Mills, I don't think he's an answer at quarterback. Didn't do really well against the Titans last week. Cooks made it clear that he doesn't want to be with the Texans anymore, so we'll see how that pans out. So he's like a healthy scratch. We'll see if he gets released or not. I think the Texans are going to take a huge cut if they do, pay-wise. So Dameon Pierce looked like he kind of disappeared after playing pretty well. Same with like O.J. Howard and Houston. I wouldn't start anybody on the Houston side. So, all right, so let's go into the next game. Is going to be the Chargers at the Falcons. So, for the Chargers, I would always say start Herbert, but Mike Williams is down with an ankle injury. And looks like Keenan Allen re-aggravated his hamstring injury, so it might be down his two top wide receivers. So I'd say start him. I wouldn't be so sure on who to start for wide receiver. It could be DeAndre Carter or Joshua Palmer, a mixed bag of those guys. So start with caution. Gerald Everett is probably a good streamer because he's a go-to guy for Herbert. Eckler for sure, definitely. You see him a lot probably in screenplays as well. And I wouldn't recommend starting the Chargers defense. So the Falcons, when it comes to Mariota, he actually did pretty well last week. I can kind of see him replicating the same thing. He's at home this week, so Chargers defense is known to be giving up a lot of points. When it comes to the running game, I think it's Algier that's the running back. Chargers' run defense has been known to be pretty bad, so comes to the wide receivers, I'm not totally sure on who to start. Probably Pitts would probably be the only person I would trust on that wide receiving core. And when it comes to the kickers, when it comes to the defense, I wouldn't start Atlanta defense. So the Dolphins at the Bears is going to be the next game. So the Dolphins traded for Bradley Chubb and got him a big contract extension. Looks like they're going all in this year. Tua played really well last week against the Lions, so starting with confidence at the Bears. Hill, Waddle, Gasecki. It'll be interesting to see what the Dolphins do with Jeff Wilson. Like they slowly integrate him in. Is it Raheem Mostert's job to lose? So I would watch that pretty closely. I wouldn't start Wilson just yet. So and Dolphins defense did get better with Chubb. So um, they did give up a lot of points last week to the Lions. So and the Bears seem to be playing a lot better. So I kind of hold off and probably not saying start the Dolphins defense. So when it comes to the Bears, Justin Fields is playing a lot better. Like as I mentioned earlier, they did get Claypool as a receiver to help him out. So I mean, he is better than some of the receivers they have now. So Fields is kind of like a mixed bag. So if you're really desperate for a quarterback, then start Fields. But if not, then just go with somebody else. Like I said, Claypool might take a couple weeks to get acclimated to the offense. So I would start Mooney. Herbert and Montgomery seem to make a pretty good tandem when it comes to the running backs. So Montgomery did fumble last week, so it might be Herbert starting off, and he has a really good chance of scoring a touchdown. Cole Kmet, I think Fields is looking to him more, so he might be a good start. And I wouldn't start the Bears defense. So next game is going to be the Panthers at the Bengals. So it looks like PJ Walker showed that he can be the quarterback for the team. So he did really well last week against the Falcons. But Falcons defense isn't that great. So and now they're going against the Bengals at Cincinnati. So I wouldn't recommend starting him. But if you have, of course, you have better options, go start them. Looks like DJ Moore has found some chemistry with him, so I'd say start him. Dante Foreman, I think. Yeah, Foreman. He did really well. Scored 3 touchdowns last week, so start him with confidence. I'm not even sure who the tight end is for Carolina, but I wouldn't start them. But Carolina defense, probably not. So Cincinnati lost a pretty tough game last week to the Browns. Like they weren't really blocking for Joe Burrow, but I think they rebound back this week. Let's start Joe Burrow, Joe Mixon, T. Higgins. I'm not sure if he's kind of hurt, but if he's playing, go ahead. Same with Tyler Boyd. And the Bengals defense sounds pretty enticing to start, but they haven't really shown me a lot of consistency to warrant a start. So I'd say start with caution, but I would lean not starting them. So the next game is going to be the Packers at the Lions. So yeah, Packers are having a rough season, but look for Aaron Rodgers to bounce back. He's probably going to be scoring a lot of points for them against them. So the Lions defense is pretty much non-existent. So start Aaron Rodgers with confidence. I think Dobbs and maybe Watkins are the only receivers, but I probably would only feel confident starting Dobbs. I think Randall Cobb is still hurt. That Jones and Dylan, those are good guys to start. They're probably going to be up by a lot, so they're going to be running the ball a lot. Tanyan, kind of been non-existent. I wouldn't start him. And Packers defense, probably not. Like I said, they haven't been showing a lot of consistency. I wouldn't start them. So when it comes to the Lions, Jared Goff, they played really well last week at home. They have another home game this week, so I'm probably looking at this game to be a shootout. So start Goff with confidence if you have him. As it comes to the receivers, Hawkinson's now gone. He got traded to the division rival Vikings, so I guess someone's going to get the ball. So look for Amon St. Brown and some of the other wide receivers step up. The running backs of Swift and Jamal Williams, they're probably going to be using them a lot more. So and then Lions defense, never start them. So the Raiders at the Jaguars is next. So the Raiders put up a goose egg last week. So this week I see them bouncing back. So start Derek Carr, start Devontae Adams if you have him. I think Waller is still hurt. Start Josh Jacobs. Raiders defense, no, I wouldn't recommend starting them. So they've never been really good at all. So Trevor Lawrence, I say start him. Christian Kirk if you have him. Maybe Marvin Jones. I think he has more chemistry with Christian Kirk. is it Etienne? So since he got the starting job, he's been killing it. So yeah, definitely started with confidence. Evan Ingram got a touchdown last week, so that was good. So that's probably a good thing, a sign of things to come. And wouldn't start recommend Jacksonville defense. Then they probably had a good matchup against Denver last week, but of course they blew it. But so I wouldn't recommend starting their defense. So then afternoon games there's going to be the Colts at the Patriots. So the Colts look pretty bad with Edinger, I think is his name, at quarterback. Looked kind of lost, and they almost won, but couldn't really come back or anything. So I wouldn't recommend starting the quarterback. Pittman's there, but I don't know. So I would say bench a lot of those guys, except for Jonathan Taylor, because he's probably gonna get a lot of carries. I would say bench every Colts player until you see some better consistency and productivity from them. And it looks like the defense is going to get worked because the offense is probably not going to be able to score a lot. So that's my take on it. So Patriots actually did pretty well last week against the rival Jets. Mac Jones is at quarterback. I think he just did enough to help his team win. I think some of his receivers are hurt. Until see some consistency again, I wouldn't recommend starting Mac Jones. Stevenson's shown that he's probably going to be the lead ball carrier with Damian Harris sprinkled in. Tight ends really haven't shown much, and defense is actually probably worth a start this week because they're at home and they're probably going to be dominating the Colts. So the Bills at the Jets. So the Bills just pretty much look unstoppable. It's kind of a no-brainer. You got to start Josh Allen. Got to start Stephon Diggs. Gabe Davis and McKenzie. They'll get catches here and there, but maybe flex at most. I know Hines got traded to the team. I wouldn't necessarily start him. He's kind of like a complimentary guy, kind of like Singletary, so I wouldn't know how much he would fit into the offense yet. So if you had a choice, I would recommend Singletary over Hines for right now. And Bill's defense, no brainer, you got to start him. So the Jets looked pretty bad last week. Wilson threw 3 interceptions and looked kind of lost. So I don't think the receivers are on the same page as him right now, so I would not start Zach Wilson at all. The receivers probably bench them. I would probably give James Robinson another shot, same with Michael Carter, just see how they do. If you need him, probably start him off as a flex. I think Conklin actually scored some touchdowns, but that was garbage time, so it's kind of a wait-and-see thing. Maybe he's got to look for someone to throw it to, so start Conklin if you have him. And Jets defense, I don't think it might be a trend of them going downhill from here. So the schedule looks a little tougher. So I wouldn't recommend starting them at all. So the Vikings at the Commanders is the next game. So Kirk Cousins is leading his team. Looks like they're kicking on all cylinders. So definitely worth a start. Same with Jefferson, Thielen, and now that they have Hawkinson, definitely throw him in the lineup. He's a good tight end. He was a good tight end on a bad team. Now he's a good tight end on a good team. So complement that with Cook as well. And the Vikings defense is actually worth a start. So I think Heineke's still trying to get used to it, but I think he's still going to have his struggles. So I would recommend the Vikings defense for sure. Heineke, as I just mentioned, I wouldn't recommend starting him to probably have some better matchups and maybe show some more consistency. So McLaren, probably not. Same with Curtis Samuel, and I think Logan Thomas pretty much disappeared. We don't even know what happened to him. Is it Brian Robinson? He's probably worth a start, maybe a flex. If you start him, he's shown that he's going to be a pretty good starter in the league. So him for sure. Commanders defense, no, wouldn't pass on them. So the Seahawks at the Cardinals is going to be the next game. So Seahawks look like a really good team, pretty complete. Geno Smith is hitting all his wide receivers. Start him with confidence. Start Metcalf. Start Lockett, even though he did drop an easy touchdown, but I guess that can all be forgiven if you catch one later on. So also start Kenneth Walker, the third man. He has been a beast since he took over the starting position. So I wouldn't recommend starting the Seahawks defense. I mean, they did enough last week to stop the Giants, but they're going to be on the road this time, and they're going to go against Kyler Murray. and the, at Arizona. So I see this game might be mid to like high scoring kind of game. The defense is going to be kind of thrown out the window. So look for Kyler Murray to throw the ball a lot. Hopkins and his I'm not sure if Connor's playing, but look for Zach Ertz to get involved too. Hopefully James Conner comes back. If not, Benjamin. But I wouldn't start the Cardinals defense. They've kind of like dropped off after that game against the Saints where they had two pick sixes. So Rams at the Buccaneers. So this probably looked like a good game on paper initially when the season started, but looked like the two teams going in the wrong direction. So I'd probably say start Stafford, but with caution. I mean, I have him, so I was like, oh man, I don't really have anyone else better. So, I mean, he'll probably be good for a touchdown or two, and then game management. Maybe it'll be a back and forth game, but exercise extreme caution. Cup, of course, if he's not hurt too bad. Allen Robinson. So this game looks probably like it might be a shootout. So I'm not even sure who's running the ball. Is it Henderson? I think they couldn't get anybody for Cam Akers, so they're pretty much begging him to come back. Higbee threw up a stinker last week, so hopefully he'll bounce back. But I say give Higbee another chance if you have him. But if he does bad this week, I'd say put him to the bench. And then the Rams defense is no longer what they used to be, so I wouldn't recommend starting them. The same goes for Brady right now. Start with extreme caution as well. But Mike Evans and Godwin, he's gonna have someone to throw it to. So and then Fournette probably gonna be running the ball for sure. I'm not sure if Rate is back from his injury or whoever the backup is. Would start them, and then would start the Buccaneers defense. Same thing, that their defense is got a lot of holes and giving up a lot of points as well. So so the Titans at the Chiefs is gonna be the next game. So if Tannehill's coming back, I still wouldn't recommend starting him. Or if Malik Willis is not, like nobody on offense, only King Henry. That's it, and that's with caution. They might stack the box and then prevent him from running really well, but he's just too good to bench. So and I wouldn't start the Titans defense, especially at KC. So KC. Patrick Mahomes, no brainer. Start him, of course. So Kadarius Toney, he's got picked up during the trade deadline, but he's kind of a wait and see kind of thing. See how he has what kind of chemistry he has with Mahomes. So I wouldn't start him just yet. Kelsey, no brainer. Edwards-Helaire, no brainer. And it'd be pretty interesting to see. So if Willis starts, then I would consider saying start the KC defense. If Tannehill starts, actually I would probably say start KC defense regardless. So they're probably going to find ways to stop Titans from scoring. So, and then the Monday night game is going to be the Ravens at the Saints. So the Saints just picked up Roquan Smith from the Bears, so they just got better on defense. Lamar Jackson, no brainer. I mean, even though he's missing some of his wide receivers, he's gonna find some receivers, or he's just gonna scramble and get some points for you. I don't even know is if Mark Andrews is playing, of course, start him. I think the backup likely actually did pretty well in substitution for him, so he's worth a stream as well if Andrews is out. I'm not even sure what's going on with the running back situation in Baltimore. I think it's Kenyon Drake, but with the quarterback that runs so much, I wouldn't trust any running back in Baltimore. And Baltimore defense is interesting right now. It could be considered a stream this week, but they are going to be on the road against the Saints. I think Andy Dalton's getting another start, and I know that he's used to playing against the Ravens, but when it comes to some pretty good defenses, he's prone to throw a lot of interceptions, make a lot of mistakes. I would not start him. I think Thomas and Landry are still out again, and the only guy I would trust is Olave as receiver. Johnson, the tight end is probably consideration for streaming as a tight end. So he did pretty well against the Cardinals, scored like 2 touchdowns, and then Kamara probably start for sure. And I wouldn't start the Saints defense like the they've given up way too many points. So let's take a look at the kickers and see which ones are we're starting for sure this week. So Justin Tucker at the Saints, look for them to score a lot of points, and if they don't get in the end zone, they're going to rely on Tucker and his legs, so get a lot of points there. And then Tyler Bass at the Jets, yeah, look for the same thing for the Bills to get ahead real quickly. Then they're probably just going to be kicking field goals, getting close to the end zone for him. So looks like Harrison Butker is back for the Chiefs, so yeah, they're going to be scoring like a lot of high scoring, potentially high scoring games for teams this week. So certain teams. So Evan McPherson for the Bengals, same thing. It looks like they're going to be scoring a lot. Jake Elliott, same with him at the Texans. Jason Myers at the Cardinals. That one might be a back and forth game. So yeah, so that's a good start. Carlson at the Jaguars. So look for Las Vegas to get back on track. Suck up against the Rams. Yeah, probably another shootout game there. Jason Sanders at the Bears. So I see Miami probably potentially scoring a lot since the Bears did trade out away both their key defensive guys. So and Taylor Boderlet at the Falcons. So I'm guessing that's the replacement for Hopkins for the Chargers. So look for that to be a shootout game as well. So so those are my picks for this week. So hopefully my advice helps you out. If not, you can come back and say you didn't help me at all. Good luck on all your picks. I wish you guys all good luck, and hopefully it all continues. And thanks for nerding out to our nonsense, fantasy into our football, all that kind of nice jazz. And thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see you next week.